everyone, and welcome back to my craft room and on my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. I'm so glad that you are here today, and I hope that you're going to love this little project that I've got planned out as much as I do. It's an easy card. The stamp set and this punch makes it so easy. We're also going to pull in a die and a stamp just for one element, and that's going to be, and I thought I had everything here. There it is, the brightest sky and bright skies and the bright sky dies. And only thing I'm going to need that for is the sun. This is a really cute little set, and we're going to use that to cut the sun out. And I'm going to show you how this is all going to come together. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to do is let's bring over all of our elements. I'm going to get another piece of white cardstock. We're going to ink this up. And then let's just stamp him out like this. Perfect. I think now when we come back in with our punch, everything will still fit, or we'll be able to punch it with our punch. So let's make sure that that's going to work for us. So grabbing my little cow builder, Cutest Cow Builder punch, I'm going to slide this in and just line everything up. Once I get that where I want it, the punch will allow you to hold it before you punch just by putting a little bit of pressure on it. And then once I know that it's where I want it, then I'm going to squeeze it and out pops everything. So there's the only two pieces that I need. And this is where the little head's going to go. Isn't that so cute? Before I do that, I am going to take my black Stampin' Right marker, and this is the only one that you can buy separately from the set. The other ones are sold in sets of each color family grouping, the core colors, and of course your end colors. So I'm going to take the top off of this, and I'm going to use that bullet tip because I want to be precise in getting my little Holstein cow colored. So she'll be a nice little black and white cow. And you notice she doesn't have any horns, so she's definitely going to be a little girl cow. So I'm just being careful to make sure that I'm getting all of that black exactly where I want it and not where I don't want it. And one more right here. Now you can use the brush tip if you feel comfortable enough to do that, but I'm using that bullet tip. You do have two tips on here. You have that beautiful brush tip, and you have the little, so you can use either or, and they're coated on the pen, so you have the wide one and the more narrow. So I'm going to go and I want to do the end of his little tail or her tail like that, and then her little hooves. Okay, once we get those completely colored like we want them, we can, oh, I do want to color her face just a little bit. I'm going to do this black, her little hair that's hanging down. I know there's probably a proper word for what that is, but I don't know. My extended knowledge of cows goes as far as going to the fair and seeing them on display, or riding down the road and seeing a field with cows. So I have no expertise when it comes to farm animals. All right, so I'm going to lay that over to the side. And the next thing I want to do is I want to bring over, let me show you our pieces first. I have a card base that's 8.5, by 5.5, and we're going to score that at 4 1/4. I have a mat and this is from that paper called tartan foil. And this is the one that I used, but there's several other colors, and each one of them has like a solid and then more of a white with the same color family. This one would be pretty too, especially if you wanted to do your cow brown. Um, then you have the Lost Lagoon color, and then that's the back. That would be pretty too. But and you also have the Pebbled Path, which is gray. That's another piece of that. So that's the gray one. So it comes with the 3 colors, the copper clay, the Lost Lagoon, and the Pebbled Path. And it is such a pretty pack of paper. It is an online exclusive, so you can't find that in the catalog. You have to go online. I'll have the order number listed, so if you decide you want to pick up a pack of that, you'll have the order number, so it makes it easy for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab my scoreboard because I like to use it to score my card bases. For some reason, they seem that they lay better using my scoreboard. So I'm going to take it and lay it in on the 8.5-inch side, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Give it a good score. Then I like to turn it over and fold it into that raised area. So fold it over like that, give it a press. I'm going to take my bone folder and just crease it right in there in the scoreboard and then go ahead and take it out. That's all the scoring we need to do on this particular card. It's really a simple card. It's not hard at all. I need one more thing that I didn't pull. Old olive. I think I'll use old olive. That will be big enough. We're going to need a strip off of that. Go across the of our card. All right, again, I'm going to take the bone folder and just really burnish that really good because I want that piece to lay down nice and flat. Okay, so now we're ready to put this piece on, but I'm not going to glue anything down just yet. I want to go ahead and build everything first. So we're going to build everything. I have another black mat that's going to go here, and it's going to hold this piece that's going to have all of our stamping and what have you on it. So let's bring this piece over, and this piece is 3 3 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to grab this stamp set, and we are going to stamp the little flowers because they're so pretty. So I'm going to stamp those over about to there and down to the bottom somewhat. So let's grab another stamp block. This time I am going to use Memento because I'm going to color these with the alcohol blends. Or do I want to do it? Yeah, I'm going to do it with alcohol blends. So I'm going to ink this up. And when you're inking with the Versamark, sometimes stamping the first time doesn't give you a good image, but we're hoping we can because I'm not putting this in a stamp positioner. So I'm going to stamp those right there. I'm going to give some pressure to that and give it time enough for that ink to transfer to my paper. And beautiful. There's a place in your craft room for, more than one kind of ink. So that's why I always say, don't limit yourself to just one ink source. Okay, we're going to put a piece of green across here that's going to mimic a field of green grass. So I'm going to cut this off about 3/8. It doesn't have to be precise. And see, I didn't cut that precise. See how it looks a little wonky? And that's okay because wonky's all right. We're going to put it right to there. And it's going to look like a little hill, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on, and then I'm going to trim it right to the edge of the card. So I'm going to take my glue press, oops, and I'm going to run a fine bead of glue right across the bottom of my card. like so. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to lay it all the way over to that edge and down to the bottom. I really want to make sure it's all the way to the bottom so you're not seeing any of that white. Like that. Then we can just take our paper snips and turn this over and just snip that off right there. We got our beautiful little heel. I'm going to give that a press to make sure everything is glued down. I always like to go back over when I use liquid glue and just press my piece in. Then we're going to take our cow and we're going to set her right about there. But I got one other thing I want to do. Remember we had this little piece of scrap that we did we cut the cow out of. We are going to grab that sunshine from the bright skies. And we are going to stamp that in crushed curry. That's a little bit brighter, darker, I should say, a darker ink than the Daffodil Delight. And I wanted a nice, strong sunshine. So I'm going to ink it up and stamp. Beautiful. And I love it. Looks a little distressed because everybody knows the sun is not a perfect color. It looks a little distressed in the middle. I mean, if you can look at it, but no one should. But where would we be without our sunshine? I'm going to grab the die out that will correspond with that. And we're going to cut that out. So I'm going to line it up. This can be the hardest part of this because there is a right way and a wrong way to get this lined up. And what the best thing to do is just to keep fidgeting with it until you get it where you're happy. And I think that'll work. So I'm just going to put one of my little Post-it flags over top of that. And I'm going to bring up my little mini because this one works so good under my camera. And I am going to put in my #1 base plate, a #2 cut plate, and then I have another #2 cut plate for the cover plate. And let's lay this in. I need to cut this off just a little bit. Lay it in. And just crank it through. And that will pop out just like that. Isn't that pretty? So now we need our sunshine, but before we go any further, let's go ahead and color our flowers. So for our flowers, I'm going to get the yellow. I think I'm going to use the light and dark Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie. I think those two colors. And for the leaves, I'm going to grab Old Olive. I think that's all we're going to need for these. So I'm going to do the center of my flowers, the dark Pumpkin Pie. I'm actually going to do two colors in the center. I'm going to make the outer edge darker, and then I'm going to use the next color, the lighter color for the center, and I'm going to do the petals with the yellow. So I'm going to put on some music. Y'all can watch me color, and we'll speed it up. flowers all colored. I did go back and decided to lighten up the center with a little bit of the Daffodil Delight. So when you're coloring, sometimes you'll think that a color is going to work, and then you decide, nope, I think I need to brighten that up a little bit. So my son's going to go, oh, before I go any further, I forgot to do some ink blending. So I'm going to come in now with blue blending brush. I should have done it before I did my flowers, but I forgot. And I'm going to get Balmy Blue. It's okay, we'll work around the flowers. It'll still work. So I'm going to load up my brush with the Balmy Blue. And I'm going to take a piece of this paper and just tap off a little bit so it don't come in, so harsh. And I'm going to come in like this. And I'm going to work around those flowers. I didn't want a lot of blue in here. I just want a tiny bit just to mimic a beautiful blue sky. And I'm going with a very light hand. I think that's plenty enough to give us that little bit of blue. Just a little bit harsher right there. So get a little bit more blue over top of the flowers. I don't think that's sufficient. So now we're going to set our sunshine right up here in the top corner like that. Our little cow is going to be right up here. And I'm going to pop my cow up, or at least his head. I'm going to put his body down flat with glue. And make sure you get it on his feet and his tail. Set his little hooves down, something like that. Now his little head, we need to do some coloring on his snout. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' Blends, because remember we did Versafine with that. So I want to get a nice soft pink out of my Stampin' Right markers. So I think Bubble Bath will be perfect. But these don't come in light and dark. They're just the color that they are. So I'm going to take the brush tip on my Bubble Bath, and I am going to go just around in here. A little bit right there on the ear. I'm going to bring that black one back in, and I'm going to use my bullet tip, and I'm just going to take and dot those little holes right there, which is his little nostrils. And I think that's perfect. Let's turn him over and grab a dimensional. We need one for his little head, so I'm going to put it right there in the middle. And then set his little head right there, and see how with it popped up, it looks so cute. We're going to do the same thing with the sun. We're going to pop that up. And let's set the sunshine right up here in that top left corner. Now we need to stamp our sentiment. So I am going to look. I think I'm going to go with this. We could do It's Your Special Day and a happy birthday card. We could do a congratulations, or what about Holy Cow? What's Moo with You? That's cute. But I love this one. The little things you do make such a big difference. So I'm going to use that one. And we're going to stamp that right there. So I'm going to grab a stamp block and pick that up. I'm going to grab my Versafine Onyx Black ink, because I love that for my sentiments. if you don't have this particular ink and you're wondering, Stampin' Up! Does not carry the VersaFine. They carry the Versamark, but not the VersaFine. They carry the Memento. So if you're interested in this ink, I do have it listed on my Amazon store, and I'll have the link for it in the PDF tutorial and also under this video. So we're going to stamp that right about there. So pretty. I always love the crispness of this ink. If you use my affiliate link to order anything from Amazon, I get a tiny kickback. I'm talking tiny. So, but it does help. Every little bit helps. So I'm going to put that on there. Something like that, and border it. So I'm going to use some liquid glue, and see, your alcohol blends do bleed through. So unless you're using a glass mat or to put something under the surface, you are taking a chance of it bleeding onto your work surface. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're using any type of alcohol marker. And then once we do that, we're going to center this on here, but I want to pop this up as well. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals one more time. And I'm going to put one in each corner. Oops. And one here, and one here. I like to kind of balance those out so that my card doesn't get wonky when it goes through the mail. And I absolutely love what the dimensionals do to the card, because it just takes the card to another level. Sure, got them all off, and I did. Now we're going to sit this down right about in the middle. Like that. Now we're ready to put this piece onto our card base. So I'm just going to run some liquid glue around the back, and then bring this over and sit it down onto your card base. And just, be careful with your margins and try to get them as even as you can. Liquid glue does give you that little bit of wiggle room, which is so nice. And it slides, which makes it super nice. Okay, the only thing we have left to do with this card is to put a mat on the inside. So I'm going to grab a piece of white. Let's see if that will work. Let's cut this off at 3 3/4, and we'll have an even spacing all the way around. So 3 3/4. And this is where, if you wanted to, you could definitely mat another piece under it. I'm not, because I think it's sufficient. We've got a lot of dimension on the front, so I'm not going to bulk up inside of it at all. So this will be ready for us to whatever you want to put on the inside. And let's see, I think I'm just going to leave it empty for a handwritten message. But look at this cute little rooster that we have. I'm going to stamp him right here in the corner. So let's move our card and just work on this for a moment. I'm going to stamp him down because he's just too stinking cute not to use. And I'm going to use my Memento. And stamp. So cute. And we're going to grab a couple of our blends. Let's see, I think we got some over here we can use. I'm going to grab the dark orange and the darker Daffodil Delight. And let's start with that. So I'm going to do his little head here. I'm going to do his little beak in the orange. A little bit of the tail feathers. And we'll come in with the lighter orange and do his body. And come back in with the daffodil. Like that. And then I want the real red for his little cone. So a real red. And I just grab the dark. I might even do his wing right here, a little bit darker. Right here. Just to give him a little bit more color. And now we're ready to put this inside. Move all this out of my way. We are ready to put this inside our card. So some liquid glue. Let's set this down inside. Just like that. And we've got a beautiful place now to write our message. Or if you decide who you're going to send it to and you need to stamp something, you can stamp something in there. So I'm going to go back across here with my bone folder just to give that a nice press. And there is our card. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you like these little cutesy cards like this, I think this little cow set is adorable. And there's so many different things we can do with it. And I will be revisiting this. But I used mostly everything out of the Cutest Cows, except my son. And I was looking for a place where I could find a really pretty little sunshine. I thought with the sunflowers, we just really needed a bright sunshine. And of course, we've got a nice little landing for our flowers and our cow. Thanks so much for tuning in once again. God bless and keep you. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products you saw me use, you can visit my website. I'll have that listed right here. I'll also be in the description below, and it's on my blog. So, and all of the order numbers for everything that I use today will be listed in the PDF tutorial, including the paper, the cardstock, the inks, everything will be listed there, the Stampin' Blends. So it makes it easy. It has an order number, and all you have to do is print that out or jot those numbers down, and then when you go to the site to order. Be sure if you order $50 or more, use the host code, and you'll get a free card kit from me to make 3 beautiful cards. I don't know which cards they'll be, but it'll be 3 different cards with the supplies to make that. So that is a thank you gift from me to you for supporting my channel and my business. As I said earlier, God bless and keep you. And remember what I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Savior Jesus. He is worthy. So until next time, take care, be kind to one another, and I love you guys. Bye-bye.